Alex Mullen to make it 3-1 in the grand final. Puts in the penalty and wins the grand final for Campbelltown City.
No one attacks it, comes back off the Fernandez. It's the goal! It's top! Oh! And then Talisman's got another one. Harry City back quick. Jake King, what a shot! My goodness me! Oh, teach that sort of stuff. Sends it in, keeps it low, and it's gone in! It's gone in! LA Uni have scored in time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland! Salisbury into a 2-0 up!
Neil Butler with another chance, it's 2-1 to Playford! Persistence has paid off for Playford!
One touch the keeper, puts it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet, and he's lost his head with a red card! David, this is massive!
Skills to make the girls sing, and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.
Hello and welcome to episode 17 of One Game at a Time. I am Seb O'Neill and, well, it's a bit of a different show. Got a very fun show for you tonight. But first of all, my regular question. I can't remember if I've asked this before, but I think it's a good question. I'm going to ask it again. Mark Talbot, if there was one album that you had to listen to, if that was your only music for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One album. Because last time you asked which band.
That was it. That was the question, yes.
Last time it was a band, so now I've got to narrow it down to an album.
Yeah.
Or songs about Jane.
Okay. Yeah, you love Maroon 5.
Maroon 5.
That's fair enough.
Their first ever album. That's probably the one.
Yeah. No, that's a decent enough choice. And also for the first time as a co-host, Ben Dale, you're going to get asked the same question.
Oh, gee. Thanks for that. Probably Queen's Greatest Hits or something like that.
Oh, that feels like a cop-out using a greatest hits.
At least I had a bit of time to think about it, waiting for Talbs to answer. So,
no. Queen's a good choice, I think, regardless.
And yours, Deb? Come on.
Maybe Thriller. I think Thriller's a good choice. A lot of good songs.
Yes.
how many times have you practiced the moonwalk by yourself?
I used to do dance when I was younger, and I always tried to do the moonwalk, but wasn't very good at it. Yes, very fun show tonight, of course. No David and Alessio, but they will be chiming in with things throughout the show. So they're not completely missing. But Ben, lovely to have you with us for this week. And we'll start off with our picks of the week. And Ben, you can do the honors and you can start first for us. What do you have?
Oh, well, I was thinking, firstly, I'm wearing this for two reasons. One, in David's absence, but secondly, most importantly, out of respect to Donald Campbell, who passed away last week. It was a massive influence on me, coaching-wise, playing-wise, and in the media-wise. You know, obviously he was the host of the longest-running football radio show in the country, Talking Football on Coast FM. So my thoughts are with Donald and his family. And for me, that was just to pay respects to him and the influence he had on me and thousands of people within football in this state. So, but my pick was the Socceroos game. Social media was going into meltdown, firstly with some squad selections, team selections, the overall performance, I guess, in some ways. But ultimately at that level, it was about getting the result. And, you know, to get the 1-0 result at the end, no one's going to really remember the performance, in a week or 2 weeks or when we get to the World Cup. It was about qualification and credit to Popper. He got a lot of criticism throughout the game. At the end of it, pop up, win 1-0, 3 points. There you go. Road to World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they still have the game against Saudi, which if they do lose 4-0, we might not qualify, but I think it would be very hard. But still, I think the Socceroos fan inside of me is still petrified that we are going to lose 4-0. So I'm still going to wake up and watch it.
Oh, don't worry. Sorry, just quickly, I did see someone say, if we just forfeit 3-0, can we just do that instead?
Yeah, we'll get through. No problems.
Seen it happen before.
Yeah, no, exactly. But no, looking forward to it. And it should be a good one tomorrow morning as well, as long as I stay awake. I'll go next with, I guess, a bit of breaking news because I only pretty much checked the Football SA website 5 minutes before we started and saw this. There's been a disciplinary hearing. There was a match a couple weeks ago between Salisbury Inter and Garn United, which I think there was a big melee at the end. And I won't go through the whole statement from Football SA as a whole, but I think we'll look at it from the footballing aspect. The main thing that catches, I think, our and all of our eyes is 6 competition points deducted for both Salisbury Inter and Garn United. We're obviously, I mean, we take that as this season, but we're not sure. But I guess Salisbury Inter in particular, they are making a run for the finals in State League 2. I guess, how does that affect you? Have either you been in sides where you've had points deducted for whatever reason?
Ooh. That's a good question. I don't think I have.
I don't think so. No. I've been on the receiving end of something. Yeah. I just back in 2009 when we played Enfield and West Adelaide were first and second in State League back then, and Enfield played an eligible player. So we had to replay the game rather than getting the points. And I know there was a lot of issues going on with it, but never been on the receiving end of any points deductions or anything like that at a State League or Premier League level.
Mark?
I was just going to say, the only thing I could think of possibly would be a team sheet error or something like that where they're forced to forfeit, really. I think that would be the only time, maybe. Not that I can think of. I mean, funny enough, I do know something happened with the forfeit the other day because the team forgot their kit.
I think I did hear about it. I think I was at the game, actually.
Yeah, at senior level, they well, I won't say senior level, but it was the senior setup. It was the under-18s. They got the wrong kit and had to forfeit. So it's the only thing I could think of. So
yeah, but no, a very interesting situation. I guess we did check the table, see if they'd updated it yet, but it doesn't look like they have. But I guess, yeah, for both of those sides, it's interesting, and both new sides as well coming into the competition. I'm not sure if there's even like a what's the word? Like a probation period, maybe.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah,
it would be interesting.
I think if there is, any violence or any racism or any type of, I guess something that we would expect to be not acceptable, then rightly so. Especially for new teams, I think we've got to make a point that there are certain standards that we've got to be all adhering to, and if that doesn't happen, then we need to not say throw the book, but at least put some type of decent type of punishment out there to make a point that it's not acceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. I did in the article as well. There has been, I think, 2 from Inter and 1 from Ghana has also been suspended for, I think, 1 a lesser period of
Spectators,
time and 1 from each a
Yeah.
lengthy period of time. So they have clearly sort of, I guess, not dealt the most harshest punishment, but still dealt a pretty harsh punishment, Mark.
Yeah, and the thing is, the other thing I've noticed with that statement as well is that both clubs have a 7-day appeal period. So that's why we haven't seen the points deducted. I would say they'll wait to see what comes of the appeal period, the appeals if there are any. So I think that's probably the punishment handed down, and we won't see that until the 7 days is up, and then they'll look at implementing those consequences, as I would say.
Yep, no, but very interesting. We'll keep updated on how that goes about. Mark, we'll go to you.
Yes, my pick of the week was probably the derby that everyone looks forward to coming around each year, and that was the Beograd Raiders derby, or should I say Croatia Beograd derby this time, because it was played at Croatian Sports Centre. Seb, you were on the game, but I did read reports and did see that it wasn't as sort of, I'm trying to think of the right word, but probably wasn't as intense as what it has been in the past. I heard the crowd was quite subdued, considering it is a derby between Croatia and Serbia. And I honestly think that that's probably down the fact that Raiders are struggling at the moment, sitting bottom of the table and just really struggling for points. And I think that's probably why. So the Croatian supporters obviously not in the best frame of mind for the football, but Beograd coming out on top and quite easily in the end. So I think that for me is the pick of the week in terms of games. And as we all know now, that they're playing each other again in 8 days' time in the qualification final for the Australia Cup, which will be, I think, even bigger. I think it will be a massive game, to be honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it will be. And I think I do agree with you. It was a bit subdued, and I think the main thing was, even when Beograd were leading and Croatia had periods where they were looking like somewhat likely to get a goal, you didn't feel it at all, I think, and that was it was weird to feel, because I think I compare it to I've only been to one before, and that was with you, Mark, last year.
Yes,
and that was electric. That was a brilliant atmosphere, a brilliant match of football, and probably for me personally rivaled by cup finals and grand finals.
Yeah, that's the thing. We were both on last year, because I remember even saying to you some about the goals. One of the goals for, I think it might have been Raiders in the end. I think it was Basasa that scored. He ran straight over to the FK Beograd supporters and almost caused a riot. So I just don't think it had that appeal this year. It just didn't seem to have that intensity this year, this game. And like I said, I just think that's partly down to the Raiders just not in the best of form, and they just sort of struggled, really. So I think that's probably why. But Cup next week, Raiders will be out to prove a point. So next week's game could be all different.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Interesting to see, I guess, how many people are showing up, what the game's going to be like, especially if you're going off the back of the one we saw yesterday. We'll go to, who do we want first, David or Alessio's?
You pick, mate. It's up to you.
Ben, you pick.
Can I just quickly say as well, based on your topic, not trying to overdo the political correctness, but I don't know anything about what actually took place in that incident. So I want to make it clear, when I was talking about the punishment, I'm not saying anyone's guilty, because I don't know the information or the details. So in case anyone's watching or watches it back and says, "Oh, you said this," I don't know what happened. So not guilty until all the evidence is proven.
That's exactly. We don't know. We purely going on the statement that's been sent out by the federation. So we're working off that. None of us were there, so it's purely off that. And like I said, there's a 7-day appeal period. You never know what comes out. I've seen many times in the past where there's an appeal period and the appeal's gone in and things have changed based off that appeal. So we just never know what's going to happen until after the 7-day appeal period, and if there is any appeals or if there aren't. So it's purely what we see on a statement until that time, and then once things come out, obviously after that, then we find out. But we've got 7 days before that appeal period is over. We'll see what happens.
Beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. We'll go to Alessio. Let's see how he's doing and what his pick is for this week.
Hey Seb and the One Game at a Time team. just here at training, just arrived now after work, so I'm ready to get to training after a positive week on the track. My talking points for this week, though, was one of them was in relevance to Mount Barker and the Hills teams, actually, with Adelaide Hills Hawks and Mount Barker both getting 3 draws in a row the last couple of games, which is a very weird but a very interesting stat line that both teams in a similar area have followed. Some of the other ones I had was the surprise win for Bacalla versus Campbelltown in the men's after many weeks without result. And they've picked up 4 points against the reigning champions, which is a great feat to have. The other ones, some surprises for me, were Adelaide Comets women 6-1 versus NTC, a game that everyone would thought would have been much closer than that. Even I think a lot of us had predicted a draw there. Comets went out, won 6-1, and by all accounts was their best performance of the season. And the other one was Fulham United men 8-0 versus Cobras, which is a damning one to see if you're the home team of Cobras playing out there at Propane and Panel Oval. It was just, a ridiculous game. And even in the second half, all the subs that came on pretty much got some goals for themselves as well. And the other one was an interesting one. Another one in State League was Adelaide Blue Eagles, another draw with 2 red cards to pretty star players for them, with Kachavalani getting a second yellow, and so was Cooper Mullins. So I guess it really shows that they were trying to push for a win there, with Sturt still getting points as well. They got 3 points. But for Blue Eagles, 2 draws in a row. They really haven't capitalised on the couple of losses that Sturt have had in the last couple of weeks to Cove and to Blue Eagles themselves. So they were my picks of the week.
He will return later with more, I'm sure. Next, we'll go to our other man who's away, Mr. David Grant, and he's overseas in Bali.
Lucky for some.
Salamat siang, apa kabar? I'm here in Bali with my pick of the week. And my pick of the week is Kusini Yengi to Aberdeen, signing for the Scottish Cup champions in the last couple of days. He'll join another Australian there and a bunch of Australians playing at Hibs as well. I think it's a good move. I think if you're playing for Aberdeen, you'll get European football. Don't forget, because they qualify for that after having won the Scottish Cup. He'll also get the chance to play against the likes of Rangers and Celtic, 2 arguably of the biggest teams in the United Kingdom, I would say. So that's my pick of the week. Hope you're all well. I'll get on the way. Adios, as they say in Indonesia. Adios.
Oh yes, those great Indonesian words of adios.
I'm not sure if he should have been wearing a helmet there either, by the way.
I was going to say, yeah. I don't even think the guys that were working in the background were wearing boots.
Goodness.
They're here in spirit with us this week, both Left and David. As I said, they will make cameos throughout the show. Normally, we'd have an interview, but I thought we'd change it up a bit different. So it's time for
Production.
yeah.
That's such a great work, mate.
My time to shine. My turn. All right. Quiz for you versus Ben.
Oh, gee.
I mean, who do you think will win? I think is the first question.
Ben.
I feel like I'm on the Brady Bunch.
I think Seb's going to win this. I think we're all going to see that Seb's actually the man behind it all and win everything.
We'll see. All right. Some questions. I think it's 7 questions I've got for you both.
Okay.
And I'll tell you how to answer them sort of when they come up.
On the buzzer?
I think it will depend on the question, I think.
All right, I'm worried now.
I reckon for this first one, we'll do it based on a buzzer system.
Okay.
All right. But then it'll be whoever buzzes first can answer theirs, and then whoever doesn't answers second. All right.
Okay.
All right. First question. Which 2 teams are joint first and second in the men's NPL reserves?
Talbs.
All right, Mark.
I'm just going for a wild stab in the dark, and I'm going to go with Bacalla and Comets.
All right. Ben, what would you say?
I'd say that Bacalla definitely up there, and Comets normally have a pretty good reserves. I know I should have a different answer, but as soon as you said that, I thought I would have to agree. Yeah, without.
So you both think the same. So you both get the points if it's correct. Well,
You're the quiz master, so that's
neither of you are getting points. It's Croydon and
Ah,
Wow.
yeah.
jeez.
So nil all to start off
I
with.
clearly need to look at the reserve table more than
Yeah, I
hey.
think of the same.
All right. Question 2. Who is South Adelaide's second top goal scorer in State League 1?
Taubes.
All right.
Parker.
All right. Ben, what would you say?
Well, I know JJ will be the top, and they haven't scored a lot of goals. Alex or Mason Cahill?
All right. The answer is you're right with JJ being top with 8, but in second with 3 goals is Robert Parker.
Sorry, Robbie. He's playing his 300th game this weekend too. I feel bad. Sorry, Robbie.
You know what? The only reason I didn't pick Alex is because I know he scored against Salisbury, so I think he's only got 1 or 2. And I knew Parker scored again on the weekend. He's scored. Yeah, I knew he'd scored at least 2, so I had to go with it.
All right. Question 3. Again, a buzzer, but same as normal.
All right.
Which 2 WSL teams have the exact same record of wins, draws, losses, and points?
Ben,
Okay.
I'm thinking Jags and Morbey Jets.
Okay. Mark, what would you say?
I was actually going to go with South purely because Ben's on the show. So I'm going to go with South and Grove.
All right.
I think Grove had got
Correct.
2 lesser points, actually.
The correct answer is it's Elizabeth Grove in South Adelaide.
Oh, wow. They've got a better goal difference then, obviously, because I know they're above us.
Yeah. So 3-0 Mark.
Wow. That's pathetic
Oh,
on my part.
jeez.
All right. This
I
next
just work on the fact that you're on the show. That's why he's put that question in.
Yeah, well, you're smarter than I am.
I don't like the you can think the same way as me, Mark. It's not nice. All right, next question. This one will be a bit harder, I think.
Oh, wow, harder than the others.
What accidental time-based tradition was broken between Adelaide Croatia Raiders and FK Beograd on Monday?
Something to do with the King's birthday's holiday or something, I'm guessing. Oh.
Yeah, good question. Well done, Seb.
Want to pat yourself on the back while you're there? Nah, got me.
If you had to have a guess, Ben. But anything vague even.
I'm going to say that 18's kicked off before midday.
Okay.
I have no idea.
That's a fine answer. Ben? If you both get it wrong, I'll give you a clue, all right?
Yeah, I'm
All right. Since they've both been in the NPL, this has been the one consistent thing about the matches.
Oh, okay.
Whoever answers first.
Always been night games, normally?
I won't accept it.
Normally a 7 o'clock kickoff?
I was going to say, or a 5 o'clock kickoff.
Who's answering an answer?
I'll go with Taubes as 5 o'clock kickoffs.
The answer is it's the first game that hasn't kicked off at 5 p.m. since they've both been in the same league.
Wow.
Right.
So what's that, 4-0 Mark?
Time on your hands, Seba.
And I reckon,
Doing research for the game.
I reckon that Monday game was supposed to kick off at 5, and I reckon it got changed because I saw paperwork saying 5 o'clock.
Right.
So, and our cameraman was supposed to be there at 5 o'clock.
Yes. By no mistake of his own either.
That's what I'm saying. I reckon it was originally touted as a 5 o'clock kickoff.
Well, there you
Anyway.
go. So what's that, 4-0 Mark? Right.
Not even half time. Oh, yes, it is half time.
We'll try and get some bonus points for.
I just take it one game at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
All right, next question. In the first WNPL WSL Cup Semi-Final this weekend, Football SA plays Salisbury Inter. What was the score when they met each other in round 8? First to answer with a buzzer. Or if you just want to guess scores, actually, that's fine. This is a 2-part question as well. But I'll ask the second part once you've answered the first.
I'll say
Salisbury Inter.
I'll go NTC 2-1.
All right, Ben, what's your score?
Yeah, 1-0 Salisbury Inter.
All right, the score was 4-0 NTC.
I knew NTC. I knew they won.
What a brace.
Wow.
Oh, I don't know enough of the players anymore.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know her name. I reckon it was the captain that played. It was the captain that day, but I don't know her name. I reckon she had the armband that day though, for some reason. And I don't know her name. I can't think of it.
I can't accept don't know her name as an answer.
That's right. That's right. I don't know. Honestly, do not know it, but I think she had the armband, and I can't tell you who the captain is at the moment that day. So I'm out.
I'm very disappointed in my efforts here. Really disappointed.
Hey, these aren't easy questions, that's for sure.
Have you coached multiple of these girls in the NTC team before?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Not in the senior team. I've been doing the part-time program for 5 years, so I'm still got some girls. Hopefully, we'll get there in the next couple of years. There's some been sitting on the bench and playing in the reserves and so on. So I'm going to be disappointed if I know this player.
I think you both will.
Oh, yeah. I can guarantee it. I said,
the answer is Grayson Blischke.
Blischke.
Scoring twice in 4 minutes.
Yeah. She scored on the weekend, or 2 on the weekend, or the week before.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Still
quite second half of that game, obviously.
Yes.
In the first half.
All right. Still 4-0 to Mark. I'll try and get you some points somewhere, Ben. All right. Next
Don't
question.
ask me a question about my team. I probably won't know the answer.
All right. Next up. How many members of the current Socceroos squad are South Australian?
Are we talking from the game on the weekend?
Yeah.
From the squad. That was the squad that was called up for this window for the Japan game and tomorrow morning. How many have called up have been South Australian?
I'll say 3.
Yeah, I'll say whoever's closest. So you say 3.
Yeah.
Ben?
The only one standing out to me is Riley McGree at the moment. I'm just 3.
Oh, no, it's 4.
Oh,
anyway.
You can change it.
No, it's all good. I went with 3. I can think of Gouchy, the Gouch, McGree.
Maybe stop naming them. Mark. just hold off on that. So you saying 3?
Yeah, I'll go 3.
And Ben, you're also saying 3?
Well, I can only think of 2, the names that he just mentioned, but I can't visualize it in my head.
All right. Well, the answer is 5.
Yeah.
Name
so you
them.
got
whoever goes first.
You got Gouchy. You've got Gouchy. That looks like Yengi.
Nope.
Yeah, I can't remember seeing his name.
Okay, so Gouchy, McGree, Izzo.
Ben, you can steal whenever. So there's 2 left. You've got Gouchy, Izzo, McGree. And there's 2 left.
2 left.
And to give you a hint, they're both the darked out ones on the right.
On the right, yeah, I know, because you can go Gouchy, Izzo, and McGree through the first. Yep. That's the order of them on that picture.
Yep.
I feel like I want to cheat just so I get a point.
just name South Australians, Ben. Any you can think of.
It's just, my word. That's horrible, isn't it?
Borello, is he in the squad?
Oh, yes, Borello was in the squad.
One.
There you go.
1 more left.
What club is the other one currently playing at? Can we have a hint?
That might give it away.
That's the point.
He's in
Here-
Europe. He's in
It's not
Europe.
Good one, yeah, well.
Aaron Kunda wasn't in the squad, was he?
Nah.
No.
No.
I was thinking Yangi, Irumkunda.
I'm trying to determine by the hair.
Yeah, same here.
So,
Or,
Not my
did he get game time in the last game, Seb?
he wasn't in the squad for the first game, but that was also
Okay.
because here's another clue. His season ran so late that he only made it to Australia, I reckon, a day before the game against Japan.
Oh, okay.
So where he plays, their season runs very late.
Can't think of who's left. Cannot think of who's left.
You look very proud of yourself, though, Seb, I must say.
I know. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, he loves it when he stumps us. He loves it. And fair dues, he's done his work.
Just get a message
He's
saying,
done
do you want
his
to come
work.
on the show? Nothing about being a quiz. I would have been practicing.
All right. Do you want another clue that might help you quite a bit?
Yep.
Go on then.
All right. So the club he plays at, he also plays alongside his brother and Paul Izzo, I believe.
One of the Torre boys?
Yeah, it is.
Which one?
One of the Torre.
It is.
Mo.
Well done.
Yeah.
Ben's got a point on the
Well,
board.
Ben, well done.
All right. So what's that? Like 7-1 or something to Mark?
Hey!
I don't know. You're supposed to keep score. I don't know.
Well, this one is worth 100 million points. So whoever
Last goal
gets
wins.
right- Yeah. All right. This one
Last
is
goal wins.
whoever gets closest to. All right.
Oof, okay.
So, Craig Goodwin is back in Adelaide. He was over in Saudi Arabia with Al Wader. How many goals did he score in 46 games since
16?
leaving?
22.
All right. So, Ben, you say 16
Yeah.
and Mark, you say 22.
Yeah.
All right. The correct answer for 100 million points and
Well, the
to
win is 17, Benny. That was right.
is 12.
Well,
And Ben, closest.
Hey,
Ben wins the quiz.
well done, Benny. You win it. Last goal wins. It's the rules.
I've done a Stephen Bradbury there.
That's it. Oh, well done.
I do not deserve to win that. I'm embarrassed. I'm really embarrassed.
It's part of the game, mate. That's how we play. Last goal wins.
Mark
Mate,
knows how the quiz works by now.
Mate, David's done weird and wonderful things, so it's always last goal. That's what we should just start calling now. Last goal wins.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's our new segment. Last goal wins.
All right, I like that. All right, we'll go into the actual football for once. Starting off with State League 2. In the north, Northern Demons losing 1-0 to Mowbray Vista. Garn beating Elizabeth Grove 7-2. Gawler having another win 2-0 against Adelaide Atletico. And Salisbury Inter beating Port Adelaide 2-0. Then in the south, Adelaide Uni and Western Strikers playing out a 4-4 draw. Seaford and the Hills Hawks having a 0-0 draw. Noarlunga losing to an ever-dominant Eastern United 5-2. And Adelaide Titans and Mount Barker playing out a 2-2 draw. And I think Alessio will want me to mention that the reserves won. And he also scored a goal.
He did, and that's true,
I
yes.
would have been able to show you the footage, but I might be able to in a bit if one of you's pad. So, Mark, we'll go to you to talk about wherever you want, and I'll try to get Alessio's goal quickly.
All right, I'll start with the north. I think Port losing was probably a big result for them because they were actually in a bit of form. So losing a loss there is it's only 4 points between first and fourth. Mowbray Vista 22, Gawler 22, Salisbury Inter 21. But Salisbury Inter obviously could possibly lose 6 points or 3 points. We'll wait and see theirs. So Port in then come in at 18 and Northern Demons 18. So the losses for those two actually are quite damning in the fact that could have put them right up in the upper echelons. And when I say that, it puts them up to 21 points, sitting right behind Gawler. Instead, now they're 4 points. Gawler, probably the surprise package there, sitting second, and it's actually only on goal difference. So they've, I think, surprised everyone. We certainly didn't expect them to do as well as what they have this year. So I think that's massive for Gawler. Grove struggling. To be honest, that it was a little bit expected that they were going to. I expected them to struggle a little bit, but it's the first year, so they've got plenty of time to build and do what they need to. They've got a massive catchment area. out at Elizabeth. Obviously, they've got Playford, Elizabeth Grove, and they've got all those teams, but it allows them to pick up those younger players that might come through. So there's a bit of work there, like I said. And Gawler, like I said, form team at the moment, just a complete and utter surprise package for me. Northern Demons up next, which will be a great game for them, but Elizabeth Grove seem to be struggling a little bit. But like I said, they're new. We'll see what happens, really, to be honest, with those guys. And then obviously across in the State League 2, Eastern just continuing on their merry way, sitting top on 30 points. Another big win against a Noarlunga this time. Dennis Bakaj, the go-to player in State League 2, to be honest. I mean, I've lost count of how many goals. I think he's up to... Actually, I've lost count of how many goals he scored.
You keep talking, I'll check for you.
Yeah, no, it's all good. He's just scoring assists. He's doing everything for Eastern. It'll be very interesting to see where they would be without him. Yes, they've still got goal scorers and they've got players that can change the game for them. But when you've got a striker that can score so many goals, we saw it a few years ago at Pontians when they had Demas scoring 30 odd goals in a season. So we've seen it before. I'd love to see him go high, but I don't know. I'm assuming he'll start Eastern United next year if they go up. If they stay in State League 2, you never know what may happen. A big club may come knocking on his door. Adelaide Uni, very surprising draw there with Western Strikers 4-4. I think that's hurt Adelaide Uni to somewhat. It's put them 3 points behind Eastern, where they were quite close, but still a few games to go, obviously. And then there's a big gap between second and third and fourth. So Adelaide Uni in second, Western Strikers in third on 18 points, Seaford on 16 points. And even going down to Hills Hawks, who are in sixth place, but they're sitting on 13 points. So it's only 5 points between them and third. So those middle spots for finals in that South League are quite close. And obviously, so we'll have to wait and see. Again, a convoluted final series. Eastern United might smash this league. Like they're clearly, them and Adelaide Uni, obviously two of the best teams in the State League 2 across both, yet neither of them may even get to go up. Even if they're winning the league, they may still not go up. And for me, that's just the killer. But yeah, and I think Adelaide Hills, obviously another draw for them, which is great for them because I said we expected them to be down near the bottom with Mount Barker, but they've really shown some heart, determination, and some good football at times to get results. And now sitting, like I said, a couple of wins, and they'll push finals. So it's massive for the club up there. So it's a very interesting league in that middle section of both tables. It's quite interesting to see how a win or two can really push you into a good position.
After some fact checking, Mark, second place in State League 2 South is Ramadan Kamugusha with 10, and then Dennis Bakai with 25.
Yeah.
So I would imagine he can go on holiday if he really wants to, and he'd probably come back and win the Golden Boot.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And then I also managed to find Alessio's goal. His game was live. He was happy to see. But my question: are we calling this goal a tap in? It's put right through for him. All he needs to do is touch it. What are we saying?
Yes, that's a tap in. It's a tap in. That's an open. That's a tap in. Open goal.
He was happy to celebrate about it all, so he was.
Oh yeah,
he was enjoying it.
And as you should. You should celebrate every goal you score.
But no, the reserve side for Mount Barker doing very well this year.
I don't like his shirt. It's got long sleeves.
Don't tell him that.
I know that's the only reason I've said it, because I know he loves the long sleeve. I do too, but I just wanted to say it just to annoy him. So,
Ben, anything to add about State League 2 as a whole?
Not specifically. I mean, I did see Andy Shaw during the week last week after Atletico's win, and he did sort of seem to think that they were starting to head in a positive direction. So I was a bit surprised by their result. And you mentioned Elizabeth Grove. I think I love the guys out at Elizabeth Grove and Shirley doing a great job, and they've got some good players who've got some experience in that area. But as you know, that takes a little while to settle in. My big concern for them is when the Downs come in and stuff like that as well, because it is a huge catchment area, but there is still a lot of competition. So it's about, for me, to a certain extent, and they have got a good junior base, they have had for a while, is making sure you're still developing those players and there's a pathway. And I know that short-term success, people are really probably more focused on that. But, I've always looked at that, more sustainable sort of, not just investing short-term success and then finding that bubble bursts and, before you know it, you've got no juniors because there's no pathway, there's no opportunities. And then, you've got to rebuild or you've seen even teams fold, in circumstances like that. So I'm not trying to be too extreme. I'm just saying, for me, it's really laying that foundation and getting it right. So, and you see Modbury Vista, they've been through a bit over the years and they had some success, and then they went back up again, and now they've got a good result on the weekend and back probably where they want to be. And Trimmers is doing a good job out there. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go on to the WSL. Sturt beating Cove 3-2. Adelaide Jaguars a 2-1 win over Western Strikers. Modbury Vista beating Modbury Jets in that Modbury derby 3-0. And then Elizabeth Grove beating South Adelaide 3-0. Ben, we'll go to you on the WSL as a whole in your game in particular, if you're not too scarred by it.
I'm scarred. I hate losing. There's no doubt about it. We've lost 4 games in a row. We went 5 games without a win, but we only lost 2 of those. Now we've lost 4 games in a row. I hate that feeling, especially this time of the year when it starts to get cold, trying to keep players motivated, keeping them positive, keeping the confidence up, hope they still come to training and so on. But it hasn't damaged the players. I mean, no one likes to lose, but I guess we're just, as corny as it sounds, we're just focusing, continuing on the performance and improving. And I felt in the first half we were competitive. Certainly, didn't really create too many chances. And I don't think Grove would have been too scared that we were going to concede. Second half, they came out full of energy and probably a little bit more physical, a little bit faster paced, a little bit more experience, and took their chances incredibly well. And they deserved their win on a cold Wednesday night out at Elizabeth and a long drive home without any points. But credit to them that they got the result. And I think other than that, the results seemed to be where I was expecting in the other games. I just want to sort of try and finish in the top half of the table. Not that it's about me; it's the whole league. But I guess while I'm here, I'll talk on behalf of myself and say, hey, look, still a goal to try and finish in the top half of the table and just be competitive and stop conceding goals and try to create some more chances and go from there. And hope that the girls enjoy their football and learn from the experience. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think.
I just wanted to say, Ben. I just wanted to say with the Elizabeth Grove game last week. Now, they've struggled obviously to get results. They went through a really bad period at the start of the season, which was quite interesting because they won the cup at the pre-season cup, which they did the year before. And I actually watched one of the games in pre-season. I think it finished a 3-3 draw in the end. And then all of a sudden, and they seem to do really well in there. And then all of a sudden, it's just almost back to square one at the start of the season. And now they're starting to find a little bit of form and get a couple of wins. But I'm just trying to work out what the difference was between the preseason cup for them and then going into the league, because obviously I think this is the second time you've played them already. So just is there any reasoning as to why that could happen? Or
well, look, I mean, none of us coaches, myself and Rob Dorber, have magic wands or have the answers to everything. But I do know that, their results early on weren't necessarily reflective of their performances. You know yourself, you can go on a run and I did the Stephen Bradbury job just before, for example. I mean, I had a horrible, 6 questions and then managed to get it at the end. But, you're hitting the post or, a player gets injured. I know Lauren Steer, who's a big part of their team, got injured, I think, either at the start of the season or fairly early on. Big focal point for their team. But they've got great energy. They've got good enthusiasm. They're a typical Elizabeth Grove style of team for me, where they just never give up. They've got some good, talented young players in there. I know young Shaylee Mobbs in there. She's just been picked up in the state schoolgirls team, goes to Brisbane late in July. And Robbie's a great coach. He's been around for a long time. He's got Justin Foster out there. It's just one of those ones where sometimes things don't click. And then, you can have 5 chances, none of them go in. And then, something happens at the other end. You make a mistake and you can see the goal, you lose. And unfortunately, if it's not going your way, sometimes it can have that negative snowball effect. And the ability, I guess, to be able to stop that in a game itself is hard. There's no interchange at state league level. There's no timeouts. You got to get to half time and hope you can do some sort of damage control. And then week by week, build on the areas for improvement, the football problems you've identified, put sessions together and try and work on certain things. And I'm sure all the coaches at this level are doing those things, and then you've just got to hope that everyone turns up and delivers the performance on the game day, and that you're able to get a result. And if you don't, then again, you lick your wounds and you go back to the drawing board and you start again. But hopefully it's not wholesale changes and drastic sort of things. You sort of just week by week just keep building. And I'm talking from my perspective, and I'm sure that you see other coaches where that happens as well. And it's frustrating. Yeah. Someone said to me last week, there's more negatives than positives in coaching. And I do see that, but I feel like I still feel positive in what I'm able to do with the players, and hope that they're still embracing what we're trying to do, and that they're enjoying the opportunities and the experience they're getting, and that they're developing. And at some point in the future, if they're smashing it in the WNPL, they can look back at that and go, that was a critical time, because it taught us some resilience and some character building. And they're things that you can't necessarily do at training. They can only learn those in games, good, bad, and indifferent, and hope that they can bring that together and become better players for it, and a better team as well. So yeah, that's it for me. It's hard. It's a real hard one.
And that narrowed it down actually. That the performance, the results weren't matching the performances, and that's what I was trying to work out and get across, was that were the results matching performance? Were they not performing well and they were getting punished for it, or were they performing well and they just that hard luck because like I said, they won the cup in the preseason, they had a great preseason, and then all of a sudden it just sort of stopped there, and then into the league it was and it was one of, as you said, it was more of a performance-based thing, that they were performing and just not getting the results, which we've seen happen so often. And it's a very hard rut to break out of, and very hard thing to break when you get into those ruts and go, well, it's just not happening for us. But it will happen. It will happen. It's convincing players and making sure they stay positive to go, yeah, it will happen once we get the right result. So
100%. And look, and there's no better example than that when Adrian Stencher and Adelaide United women's team, you know, in the past, if it was about results, unfortunately for him, he could have found himself unemployed.
Oh yeah.
But it was a bigger picture, and he was persevering with it. They trusted him. The players trusted him. You get some positive momentum. You get some confidence. Bang, you're on. And it's just such a fine line sometimes. It's a tough job, and I'm not trying to ask for any empathy or sympathy here. You know, if you don't like the heat, get out the kitchen, so they say. Yep. But you know, you've just got to be patient with it. And again, just get that little bit of confidence, positivity, and hope that things turn at some point.
Before we move on from the WSL, one from me, I guess, to you, Ben. We saw FSA come out about how they're looking at the structure of the senior men's competitions. For the women's side, I think the WSL in particular, what do you think should be changed? Because I think the one thing we talk about a lot each week when we look at the WSL is that realistically, it's the top two teams, and sort of the rest of the league are playing. I'm trying to think of a way how to put it. But do you know what I mean? Like for your side, like you'll probably might make top 5, but you probably won't beat Vista or Sturt, being realistic. But there's nothing really to fight for. There's no final spot. Is final something you'd like to see in the WSL, or see the promotion spot, the relegation spots change? I guess I'm trying to put it in a nice way, but it's a strange competition, I think, to follow in comparison to the rest of the men's and the WNPL in particular.
It is, and look at the start of last season when they changed Women's State League from being an interchange competition to, you know, not non-interchange anymore. I struggled a bit with that because I was more about developing players, and I felt like, you know, having coached the girls from under 11s all the way through juniors and so on, not to like use interchange like an AFL type of thing, more about coaching in the moment, being able to bring players off, talk through them, you know, what could you have done differently there, stuff like that. And you know, those type of things. So I was really caught in regards to young players transitioning to senior football, the opportunity they were going to get, the development they were going to get, the learning experience they were going to get, versus the other half of the Women's State League who want to get to the WNPL. And of course, it's 100% results based then. So their scope was slightly different, and they could look at it as other clubs were using the interchange to keep players fresh and so on. Whereas, was that preparing you for WNPL because there's no interchange? Coming to the playoff games, some teams were not able to be conditioned for a 90-minute game. So I think, look, part of me is still, I like to see the state league as a development league, because we've got young girls in there that's their first experience in senior football and so on. But having said that, I fully respect all the clubs that want to be in the WNPL, Vista, Sturt, Jags, Jets, Grove. They're investing in different ways in regards to still developing players, but wanting to get some success and get up there. It's another level for me, WSL versus WNPL, because, and again, we've seen that in the playoffs. But I think for me, I've never been a big fan of the final series, but I do think as a player, it's a great carrot to dangle to go, you know what? Hey, we can't win the league, but we've still got something to play for. If we can finish fifth and get a chance to play in some finals and get that finals experience, whatever it might be, and still be in the raffle, the lottery, whatever you want to call it, to potentially get promoted, I think there's something in that, and I think that would be, I would sort of probably support that if that was proposed to the clubs, if that was something they were looking to change.
Yeah, because I think every year that we've done this, or at least we've sort of been involved as a group, we've sort of gone, like, one year it was Sturt are top. They look like they're going to be promoted with about like 7 games left or whatever. Last year it was Campbelltown who went unbeaten. This year it's a bit close between Sturt and Vista, but it's still sort of been that common theme that there's always been one front runner, or this year 2 front runners, to really make it interesting. And I guess, Mark, we speak about it often.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I tell you what, we could solve the world's problems. But yeah, no. But yeah, no, we do speak about it because it is an interesting concept that there's normally 1, maybe 2 teams that really do stand out in WSL, and I think it is, again, something they need to look at and try and provide that carrot for those teams that are trying to get there, but they're not quite there. Because I tell you what, playing finals football it's an experience. It's something that you don't. A lot of leagues don't do it. So with the fact that they don't, I think those players, I think they could benefit big time from playing in a final series where there is something on the line. They go, okay, we can get there, because then it comes down to one game. Like, yes, they play in a WSL Cup or the WNPL Cup, but normally it's a one-off game. And if the WSL team comes up against the WNPL club, we know who's going to win. Like, most of the time, the WNPL clubs will win. So they're not getting to experience that side of it. And I think, as a development league, I still think they should look at a final series to provide them with a carrot that they can still have something to play for towards the end of the season. And again, it's just a different experience playing finals football. As you ask anyone that's played anywhere else in Australia that doesn't have a finals football, or have played in Europe where there's finals football doesn't even exist, it's certainly an interesting experience and something you need to come to terms with. So I'd like to see it.
Yeah. If there is anybody listening from any other WSL clubs, contact us, because we'd love to see. I think I'd love to hear other people's perspectives and what they think about what they want, whether you're a player, a coach, or just a member of a club. It'd be interesting to hear what people want out of the league, because I think, like I said, it is probably one of the more interesting ones to look at.
Yeah. Well, my opinion's only based on right now. My opinion could change in 12 months' time, because for me, I'd love to play finals football, but I'm not saying I want to do it so I can get a chance to get promoted, because we're not ready. So from that perspective, you just want to give the players the experience of participating in finals football, because with the WSL, WNPL Cup, other than the reserves, we've got 2 WSL teams in the reserves semi-finals. But other than that, at a first team level, it's very challenging, to be able to compete at that level. So any extra experience we can give them that's going to benefit them to become better footballers or better teams, I think that's something that we should certainly have a look at for sure.
I think more football is always the answer to all these sorts of questions. Just play more football. That's all people want. All right, we'll go on to State League 1. Cumberland winning 2-0 over Code. Adelaide Cobras, as Alessio spoke about earlier, losing 8-0 to Fulham United. Vipers and Blue Eagles drawing 1-1. Sturt beating South Adelaide 1-0. Pontian losing 5-1 to West Adelaide. And Olympic and Salisbury United playing out a 1-1 draw. Ben, we'll start with you. What catches your eye?
I was a little bit surprised, and again, when I say this stuff, I'm not trying to be a cop-out with the Cumberland Cove. Cove getting a positive result against Sturt the other week. And I was surprised by that, but it was a 6-pointer and essentially almost a bit of a local derby in some respects. The Cobras one, I saw Cobras against Panthers the week before, and I know their keeper had been suspended, so they had that young Jaden in there having his senior debut. That wouldn't have been a great experience for him last week, conceding 8 goals. So I was surprised by that and taking nothing away from Fulham. And also that, obviously made mention of Alessio made mention of the Blue Eagles, drawing their last 2 games, not capitalising on Sturt dropping points. Yeah. So Vipers getting a draw, that's another point that's getting them away from that relegation zone, which makes it more difficult for Panthers to try to get out of that second to bottom spot now with 5 points the gap. So, look, it's all to play for there. It's an interesting league. No one wants to get relegated, and most clubs, pretty much 90% of the clubs want to get promoted. So it's a big league, huge league.
Mark?
Yeah, look, I think that's pretty much covered everything, to be honest, because it's, I shadow those Cove and Cumberland. I honestly thought Cove were in a better position. Cumberland really struggled with form lately. So, but I think for me, I picked South to win, and I know I think the three of you boys picked Sturt to win. I picked South. But that was I had some reasoning behind that, and I thought Sturt might have just been a little light on players. I had a couple of players out and things like that. So that really, I thought South would come with a little bit more. I thought they might sneak something there, coming off a win the week before. So. Or a good positive result the week before. So I was a little bit surprised there, to be honest. I actually thought they'd come out and get something out of that game, but alas, it wasn't to be. And just going back to the 2 red cards for Blue Eagles, they're 2 massive outs for them. And I did read that someone wasn't happy with the referee for that game, for the 2 sending offs. I haven't had a chance to look at the bookings, but both players were booked twice. It wasn't a straight red or anything. And I heard that it was a little bit soft in the fact that one of the players received their second yellow was very soft. And I thought, well, you know what, regardless of if it's soft or not, you can't put a ref in a position where he's got to think about having to give you a second yellow card. It's as simple as that. You can't go around if you give him a decision to make, then you're not in a good position. So you've really got to sort of look at that and go, well, actually, you can't be just blaming the ref. I think they're doing the best job they can. I mean, without them, we wouldn't have games. It's as simple as that. So I think people need to just go, okay, respect the referee and leave it at that. As simple as that. If you're putting him in a position to make a decision and going, okay, is he booking him or is he not? Then you're probably in a bit of trouble straight away. So just don't put him in those positions. Don't do the stupid thing to put him in a position where they've got to contemplate giving you a second booking or not. So that's just my opinion. And I've been in those positions before. I know exactly what it's like. If you put him in that decision, if you put him in a position to make the decision, probably not going to work in your favor.
How many times have you been sent off in your career, Mark?
In my career, twice.
Yeah, twice. What do you remember? What for?
Twice. Yep.
What?
One was retaliation. I was playing reserves at the time, and I retaliated. It was actually Cobras at Weagle Oval, absolute mud bath. The player trod on me. So I'd won the ball and I'd gone down. The player trod on me, got away with it, so I swiped him, took him out, and got sent off for it. And then the second one was actually overseas. I got sent off for a save on the line. I wasn't in goal though. So.
It was practice for the future.
It was, because what was funny was I got sent off. I made a great save, pushed it over the bar, low hand, pushed it over the bar, got sent off, claimed it wasn't my hand, obviously, went down hot on my face. Got sent off, and then because over there the suspensions take weeks for them to come through, so I played like another 3 games, and then I served my suspension, and then the following week, that week at training, our goalkeeper left, so the following week I went in goal, and I was actually in goal for the rest of the season that year. So yeah, but that were the 2 times I've been sent off.
Good
I said,
point.
you put him if you give him a decision to make, you're probably not in the right position. Like, you're going to get in trouble. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So
no, that's fair enough. Ben, you ever been sent off?
I was about to say, don't ask me. I think at a first team level, not that many, but certainly when I was like under 18s and 23s reserves back in the day, I wasn't the best behaved player on the pitch. Better known for my tackles than anything else that I contributed to the game. So not 100% proud of some of the things I would have done. I'm not saying I was a Kevin Muscat style player or anything like that, but you grow up north playing football. You don't tip your toe around. You get stuck in, because if you don't, you don't win, and that's just how it was. And if I was playing in this modern day football, I probably would be sent off every second week for the tackles I used to put in. And it wasn't to injure people. It was just literally the hardness towards the ball. If you miss time a tackle, like you said before, Taubes, sometimes when you cross that white line, even though you've got a yellow card, you see the ball there 50-50. Your mentality wasn't to not go for it. You just went
exactly.
Whatever happened, and so anyway.
And things happened. We'll go to the WNPL. Salisbury Inter beating Metro 4-1. Uni and West Adelaide playing out a 0-0 draw. Comets beating NTC 6-1. Campbelltown a 4-1 win over Flinders, and Burkalla with a 4-0 win over Adelaide City. Mark, quite a few good talking points, I think, in there.
Well, I'll start with the obvious one, Adelaide City.
Yeah, exactly where to start. I think that's a good place.
I'm going to start there. A loss for them. And the Campbelltown win has now got Adelaide City, who I never have thought in their women's game would be sitting bottom of the table. And the thing is, they're 2 points behind Campbelltown now, and I see Campbelltown on the rise. So I do fear for Adelaide City in the fact that they may get relegated if they can't break the current form they're in. I mean, they've only had 1 win out of 11 so far, so I think they're in some trouble. They've got Adrian in place now, Adrian Santrak in place now, but he's got a lot of work to do to turn it around for them. So, and like I said, I only see Campbelltown on the rise. Whether City can catch Campbelltown or Flinders is going to be a tall order now. And the fact, like I said, there's a big gap between 10th and 7th. So Adelaide City are only up against Campbelltown and Flinders, to be honest, and I can't see them catching them. So for me, really big talking point there. For me, like that, Adelaide City's like it's like when Fulham went down. We just wouldn't expect the Fulham women's team to go down after they'd been such a powerhouse in the league for so long. Then we find out that they're completely disbanded now because they just didn't want to do a women's team. So that's part of the reason why. But Adelaide City, there's no way they're going to get rid of their women's team. It's been a source of so many A-League players over the years and things like that for Adelaide United and around the country. So it's a worrying indictment for them and where they're currently sitting. So that for me is probably the biggest talking point in the WNPL. The other one, I think probably another good one I'll take I'll go the complete other end of the table is West Adelaide result. I mean, they're currently 7-8 points clear, 8 points clear of second place. So I think the draw there is it's a very surprising for me because they seem to be they're doing very well, obviously, and scoring goals. And I think this is the first game that Yamada hasn't scored this season. Yeah. So that's probably the worry in the fact that they weren't able to get her on the ball in those dangerous positions to make it count. So yeah, that's a talking point. And Adelaide Uni, obviously, with that draw, that massive turnaround from last year. Yes, they're sitting 7th, but it's a massive turnaround from last year. Last year they were in the relegation playoff against I can't remember who they played last year in the relegation in the playoff. Was it Vista?
Yeah,
with Vista. Sure. Yeah, so
it was close.
Massive turnaround. I mean, they saved themselves on the last game of the season against I can't remember who it was. I was actually on that call, but they said they saved them in that last game with that win, very late goal. So you know what I mean. So for me, their big turnaround this year, 14 points. They're probably safe from relegation now, I would say. So massive turnaround for them and what they've done this year compared to last year.
Very entertaining side to watch as well, I must say, compared to last year. Yeah. Ben, to you.
Yeah, look, I agree with what Taubes is saying. And Adelaide Uni, they've only lost 3 games. It's only one more than Comets. And I think they've done a good job there. They've brought in some good young players. I know that Macy Burton was in the full-time program for a couple of years. So they're doing some good work. They've brought in some great acquisitions, from Adelaide United in the last couple of weeks. I can only see them going on there. Look, mathematically, obviously, but I'd say that they're definitely safe of relegation. They should be looking to try and finish higher up the ladder. They're only 4 points away from 4th spot. So, all to play for in that space. NTC, I think, that was an interesting result against Comets. But having said that, I looked at the team list and had young Melissa Bosco in goals. And only a couple of weeks ago, she was playing for Modbury Jets, like on loan from FSA, coming back from injury and stuff. So I'm not sure why she was starting. I don't mean that disrespectfully to her because she's a great young keeper. I had her in the state development program 4 or 5 years ago. And and there was a couple other noticeable absentees within that NTC team as well. But Comets have got quality all over the pitch too. So when they hit their straps, I can't wait to see them and West Adelaide play both at full strength. That will be a massive game. But again, concerns for Adelaide City. Got a big second half of the season to turn things around, and Campbelltown, Joey and Amiro doing some great work there. I saw the Kicking It Like a Girl podcast, and they were talking about Campbelltown investment in women's football. And I said, it's not just at a senior level. Their under 12 YPL girls are sitting second. Their under 13 YCC girls are first. And their under 14s, 15s, and 16s YCC girls are all sitting fourth. So they're doing some great work. And Amiro and Joey have been involved in the girls program at Campbelltown for a number of years. And they're still got daughters and still coaching some of those young. So it's not just at this senior level. They really want to establish themselves as a WNPL club and then have those girls have a pathway to come and play WNPL. Because as you guys know, you've got a club that's playing State League 1 or State League 2, men's or women's. If those young players are starting to show something and they want to play at a higher level, at some point they go down the road to another club. You want them to stay there and play first team at their club at the highest level. And at the moment, they're doing some great things. And I can't see Campbelltown getting relegated. I think they'll continue to climb the ladder.
Absolutely. And I think those final spots as well, I think are completely open, even all the way up to Adelaide Comets, really, because I think almost every team still has a hope. It's so unpredictable. So yeah, looking forward to the final, I guess, half of the season that we've got to go. On to men's NPL. Adelaide City losing 3-1 to Metro Stars. Croydon with a 2-0 win over Modbury Jets. Para Hills losing 1-0 to Playford, and Campbelltown doing the same to West Torrens Burkalla. Adelaide United with a 3-0 win over Adelaide Comets, and FK Beergrad, as we spoke about yesterday in the derby, beating Adelaide Croatia Raiders 3-0. We'll start with Mark. We'll start with you for this. Where do you want to
go? Where do I want to go? I didn't actually cover any games this weekend. I took the weekend off, which was great. I actually went and watched my daughter's Broadway musical for her school. So that was my Saturday, which was fantastic, just quietly. I'll start with the obvious one, obviously, is Metro Stars. 32 points, 13 games. What are they? 8 points in front of second and third. So equal, Adelaide United equal second and third with Burkalla, with FK Beergrad, sorry. So Metros, for me, it's theirs to lose. I've seen them play a few games. Actually, I've called a few of their games, and some of those games have just been spectacular. Yeah. Some of the games have struggled, but they're still getting the results. So one game that comes to mind is the Burkalla game. They played at Burke's away a few rounds ago. They got the win. It was an own goal in the 92nd minute for them to win. But the thing is, they're still getting those 3 points, even though they were struggling to break Burke's down. They still managed to get the result and get those 3 points, which is why they're sitting so pretty on top against an Adelaide City side who only a few weeks ago were right behind them, right on their tails, and now all of a sudden some results not quite gone their way. They're now down to fifth. So quite fascinating there. I'm not going to talk about FK Beergrad or Raiders. We already covered that. But the other one that actually does excite me is Croydon. I've watched them a couple of times. They've been a bit of a surprise package. I don't think anyone's expected. I think we all picked them to be lower half of the table. Going on the evidence of the last probably 6 or 7 years, they've been in that sort of not in relegation, but can't quite get to that final spot. Whereas this year, George has come in, Sonus has come in, and he's really getting them to sing quite a nice tune. Yes, a little bit inconsistent there at times, but that's part and parcel when you've got new coach to the club. They've got a couple of young players coming through, and there's still some of the little bit more experienced players that are still finding their feet at NPL level that aren't consistent every week, in the likes of Passia John. 1 week he'll score an absolute worldie, the next week he's not there, but that's also the joys of being a winger. So you have those, but some very clever pickups during the off season in the likes of Polly, and obviously again Passia John, who has saved them on a couple of occasions. So they've just really been playing some good football. And for me, the key for them is Greco in the middle of the park. He makes them tick over, and he does really well. So another really good result for Croydon. So some great results there. And I really like watching them play at the moment.
Ben?
Yeah, it's interesting because, when you talk about Croydon, and they're been a little bit up and down, and this is probably the best position they've been in the ladder at this stage of the season for quite a while. They've tended to flirt a little bit with relegation a number of times over the years, and I've always had a massive respect for Croydon over the years. When I was growing up playing at Parra Hills, Croydon were one of the your biggest competitors, but they've only lost one less game than the Comets, or even they've lost the same amount of games as Parra Hills and Bacalla. Only two less than Modbury. So, it's one of those things where, again, this weekend, a 6-pointer against Comets, that's when they'll maybe try to consolidate a little bit more their position in that top 6. Surprised, again, haven't been watching it astutely as much as what you guys have over the season, but to see Raiders where they are, I thought last season, Vlado been doing some great work at Raiders, and they normally have some good young players coming through. So to see them there, and they've got a tough ask this week against Metro, they're going to have to start to get some points because, it wasn't that long ago they were, back in State League One. And then Beergrad and both Raiders have spent time in State League One over the last couple of years, but they're going to have to turn things around very quickly in that space. And, I'm not saying anything that people don't already know, but yeah, it's an interesting league. Benny Moore doing some great work at Playford, obviously, but again, you've got to keep building on that. You can't take your eye off the ball. You've got to keep going forward. So yeah, it's an interesting league, and I was surprised by the Campbelltown result with Bacalla, but again, taking nothing away from Bacalla, I thought they've been doing it exceptionally well. Got a good team on paper, just been a little bit off with the results, but great result for them.
Absolutely. I guess one more before we move on. Do we think that any sort of places are consolidated? Do we think there are any teams that are a lock that we think, yes, are going to be finals? Do we think there are any teams that are going to be definitely in that relegation zone?
Yeah.
Other than
Metro, definitely playing finals.
You got to let me finish. Are there any of those teams that you're certain for sure that will be in those final spots, or will even be outside of finals? What are you sure about that come the season?
I will say FK Beergrad will be finals football, and they'll be upper tier of the finals football. I think they're playing really good football. They're consolidating really well. They've lost a couple of players through injury, but it hasn't. They haven't let it affect them too much, and they've got a really good squad on paper as well. Like I look at the Raiders bench for the other day, they had the likes of Stam and Orchard both sitting on the bench. I think even Clark came off the
Clark
bench.
was on the bench. Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So they've got depth on the bench. So they've got a squad. So I really like them. And I to be honest, I'm really concerned at the bottom end of the table. I look at it and think Raiders are in trouble. And Modbury, unless they can start scoring goals, because they just seem to be struggling in front of goal at the moment. So I am a little concerned for Modbury. I don't think they'll be playing finals, but they've got a challenge on their hands. I mean, but in saying that, they're on 11 points. Burke's in 10th position, or on 13. Parra Hills are only on 15. So there's not a massive disparity between them and sort of safety, but they've got to start scoring goals. That's their biggest issue at the moment. So they're probably my biggest concerns. And Parra Hills just keep picking up results every so often. They'll just get a result that pushes them up a little bit higher or something like that. So but I guess the other fascinating thing is the top 6 are all got positive goal difference. Everyone below that, there's all negatives. So even Campbelltown.
And on that, Talbs, I think for me, an answer to your question, Seba, I think that the top 6 is almost done, other than the Playford and Campbelltown spot. I think the rest of them, unless someone goes on a really big run outside that top 6, I don't see any of those 5 dropping out. I just think it'll be a bit of a tug of war between Playford and Campbelltown, and they're both probably done enough to deserve a spot in there, but I can't see anyone else dropping out at this point.
Yeah, will be very interesting. And just when you were saying about depth, I think for Beergrad, just to go back on the Croatia Beergrad game, you were saying about the depth for Beergrad. You looked over to the bench of Croatia, and I think between the whole bench, I can't remember the exact number, but it would have been
somewhere around 10.
Well, less than 15 appearances combined at senior level for all of them. I'm not sure. They had a few. Reece Thompson was out due to suspension to a 95th minute yellow card the other week, which I think was quite funny. Not funny, but interesting that out of all the times to do it, and then Joaquin Burns still out with suspension as well. I thought they were missing, but still, even then, that's only 2 players, and I think that is maybe a depth issue there.
Yeah, both players are influential for them, but I think a little bit of experience in depth maybe to play a little bit. And I know people just want to play the kids and they want to have the young players, but sometimes you still need some of that battle hardened experience, even coming off the bench. I mean, normally Raiders will have the likes of a Radice that's able to come off the bench and do something in those last half an hour sort of roles. Or I mean, he started on the weekend and he has started, but he's got that. They've had the joys of being able to bring him off the bench a few times this year, along with Steph Mateo, who's obviously, as we know, has got the experience as well. So whereas they're now having to start and then missing those two, sort of Joaquin Byrne and Thompson, it does take away that experience. And I said sometimes you just need that little bit of battle harden. I mean, you look at the bench again. We said Orchard, Stam, and Clark or Ghetto as well. Exactly. So you've got those players that have all got the experience. So and you look at all the other teams, you look at it, and there's the ones that are doing well. You look at your Metro Stars. They've got some kids, but those kids have been in the system. They've been at AU or like Adelaide United. So they've got that experience. They've been playing in the NPL. You look at Croydon's bench as well. They've got players. When Passia John's not playing, they've got Luca Trimboli coming off the bench and vice versa. So they've got that little bit of battle hardened experience. So again, Adelaide City, the same sort of principle. They've got players that have been playing, and Playford's probably the biggest one. They've got players that have been there all the way through. They know the system, but they've also got players that have come into the side like Akapo and stuff like that have got a little bit of battle hardened experience. That probably just helps them a little bit more.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, we'll go on to our predictions for the upcoming week. We'll start off with there's a knock at the door, Mark.
Oh, surely it's closer to you than me.
But I don't. I'll get up.
I can get it. Is it my door?
No, it's my door. You are right.
Okay, good.
It's a pain. It's a pain when it's my door is the only issue.
Who have we got? Who have we got, Seb?
I appreciate and hate this tradition at the same time. Well, guess what? It's Nicole Blackett.
Hooray!
Hello, Nicole. Can you hear us to start off with?
No.
Oh, what an intro.
We're going to try again.
We're going to try again. We're going to talk about the upcoming WSL Cup games, which are on Saturday. Inter and Metro both playing against each other. And then West Adelaide versus Metro. Sorry, Inter versus NTC are those two ones. We'll go through our predictions. She'll be back in a second. She's just fixing it. That's no problem. We'll go through our predictions to start off with. Unless she's back. You back now?
I'm back. Hi.
Yeah.
Yay!
It works. All right. Nicole, how are you? Are you doing well? Oh. It nearly worked.
Nearly worked.
It nearly worked.
Hello.
I can hear it.
It's like every time she goes to speak, it cuts out.
It's not liking her.
It doesn't. Yeah, clearly. I'm not sure what the issue is. But I guess.
Uh-oh.
You good now?
Yeah.
Okay. How are you? Are you good?
Hello.
She's worried now.
I am worried.
Oh, good.
Yes. How are you? Are you well?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Hope you're recovering from our game of Uno. I won't spoil it, but one of us won.
Who? Was Ben, wasn't it?
If he plays Uno like he plays his quiz, then we're in trouble.
Oof,
yeah,
big trouble.
Nicole, how are you looking forward to Saturday?
Very much so. Haven't played on a Saturday for a while. So the 3 nights a week's a bit of a stitch up, if I'm honest, but like the training. But no, it'd be great.
Yeah, not
Very
having
excited.
to do a 8:15 or an 8:30 for once. I'm sure you're quite happy.
Yeah. 3:30, which you know,
Jeez.
1 o'clock's better, but I'll take it.
Yeah, can't win them all.
Can't win
I
'em
guess looking at both, I guess the other games all before yours, Inter and NTC, that will be interesting. You will be able to watch before much, or when you have to warm up towards it. But I guess how much will you be able to watch before it? We have to go in.
I'll probably get there a bit earlier to watch first half, and then I think we'd have to go in. Yeah, should be a good game.
No, it should be a really good day. I think I will be there as MC, so we'll be able to watch the games. So it should be a really good day. I guess Also, next week you'll be joining us as a co-host, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
I hope you're looking forward to it as well. I hope.
Yeah, thought take David's spot, see how I go.
I mean, he'll be back next week, so you'll be taking Alessio
Oh.
instead.
Oh, okay, let's just. I don't care who's
And admittedly, your hair's better than Alessio's as well. So
Thanks.
It's better than Mark's too.
exactly.
Oh,
Jeez.
that's a cheap one.
I get them every week.
Right. We're going to do some predictions. You're going to join in, Nicole, with us for this.
Okay.
But first, we'll hear from Alessio about how the table between me, Mark, David, Alessio is going. You excited to hear about this, Mark?
No, because I've gone bottom, I reckon.
I'm excited to hear. So let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, because you're sitting top.
And for the all-important predictions from last week, so as everybody knows, it was a 1-point difference between 3 of us and a 5-point difference between Seb and the rest. It was Seb on 241, me on 236, Mark 235, David 234. This week was an interesting one for us. I mean, only 2 perfect results were picked. One was from David, one was from myself. But otherwise, it was quite good in terms of picking the correct winners in general, with Seb getting 15, Mark getting 15.
Let's go.
Myself getting 10, and David getting 14. So that was also a pretty good predictions week for just predicting the correct winners. But of course, a couple went 1 goal either side. So to re-update after that, it means Seb continues at the top with 256.
As I should.
But it means a massive reshuffle in terms of second, third, and fourth, with it being completely flipped. David is now second with 251. Mark is third with 250, and I'm bottom with 249. So it's still 1 point between the 3 of us. But yeah, Seb's getting a bit of a gap now. I think that's 7 points in between me and him. And yeah, about 5 in between him and David. So that's the recent updates for that. But yeah, those perfect results as well. I'll go through them as well. I predicted the Eastern 5-2 win. So finally one of my high scoring predictions has paid off. And David picked the Mobby Vista win 3-0. So that was the other one. That's all there is, and we'll see how we go this week.
Out of all the ones to pick, a 5-2 is ridiculous. not like a 1-0 or anything. You picked a 5-2 correctly. But I'm happy to hear I'm back. I'm still at the top. And
You are
Mark,
still on top, Seb.
You fallen.
Yeah, no, that's all good. That's fine. You know what? I just thought I'd give you all a chance.
Exactly.
I sat on top. I sat on top for a long time. I thought, you know what? Let someone else experience what it's like to sit at the top of the table. Let me chase for a change. Just to see what it's like, and then we'll go from there.
How
And
gracious of you.
considering I got ripped last year, so this year I'm like, let's see what happens.
Do you guys win anything at the end? What's in it?
Oh yeah, there
Just
should
bragging
be
rights.
Should be cash.
No, I think there should
Just
be a prize.
bragging
Actually.
rights.
I'm more keen for a prize this year than last year, to be honest.
Yeah, now that you're sitting top at the moment, because last
Yeah.
year you were terrible.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll do our predictions. We'll start with State League 2 North, Salisbury Inter versus Modbury Vista in State League 2 North. Mark, I'll start with you.
Ooh, you're going to start with me. I'm going to Modbury Vista. 2-1.
Modbury Vista 2-1. Okay, Nicole.
Did you say me?
Yeah, I did.
Sorry.
That happened to
went
me
back
last
again.
week when you with the pause. It's hard.
Yeah. Or I don't know, 1-0 Inter.
Okay. Ben.
There's a lot of history with Morby Vista and Salisbury Inter, and I don't mean that against each other club-wise, more the players that are playing at Salisbury Inter that used to play for Morby Vista in the State League a few years back. I'm going to say a draw, but having said that, if Salisbury Inter lose 6 points, they're going to need the 3 points. I'm going to go draw 1-1.
Very, very true. Eastern United versus Adelaide Uni. I'm going to go for an Eastern 3-2 win. Mark?
Who was it? Eastern and who?
Adelaide Uni.
Oh, okay. I was going to go a high score. I was going to try Alessio's trick, but maybe not. I'm going to go with 4-3 to Eastern.
Okay. Nicole?
2-2 draw.
Okay. And then Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to get a sore butt from sitting on the fence. Hopefully it's not a picket fence, just a nice, smooth fence. Because I feel like Adelaide Uni have drawn their last 2 games. They haven't capitalised on the points that Eastern have dropped. I feel like it'll be another draw.
Okay.
But I'll say 1-1, not 2-2.
Okay.
1-1.
Different.
Yeah,
I reckon exactly. Eastern averaging about 18 goals a game at the moment.
Yeah.
A 1-1 draw.
I know. I'm not very good at this game. You saw from the quiz before. Come on.
I got to go back and watch this.
In the WSL, Modbury Jets versus Elizabeth Grove. I'm going to go for a Grove 2-0 win. Mark, to you.
Jets 3-1.
Okay. Nicole?
Jets 2-1.
Okay. Ben?
You can guess what I'm going to predict.
You're going to sit on the fence.
I find it hard predicting in the league that I'm coaching in.
Yeah.
And sometimes the results and the performances are a little bit up and down. And I do feel there's not too much separating those 2 teams on their day. So I will sit on that fence and go another draw. I'm going to say 2-2.
Sit on the picket fence.
Yeah, that's really getting painful now.
No more draws.
I can't wait to see the next one.
All right. Adelaide Blue Eagles versus West Adelaide in State League 1.
Ooh.
I'm going to go 2-0 West Adelaide. And Nicole, we'll start with you. I feel like there's one you have to pick.
West is best. Let's go 3-0.
Okay. Mark?
That's a big win.
That is a big win. I'm going to go West Adelaide 3-1.
Okay. And then Ben?
With Blue Eagles out,
3-3
up for grabs. Not a draw this time. I'm sick of the picket fence. It is getting painful. I'm jumping off the fence. I'm going to go West Adelaide 2-0.
Okay. On to both of the WNPL WSL Cup games. And Nicole, if you want to be, you can predict, but you don't have to if you don't want to, if it's too uncomfortable.
If she wants to be on the show next week, she's got to pick. Alessio does it every week. Admittedly, he picks against his side most of the time.
He has picked
his team no offense, but his team isn't doing as well as yours.
Yes.
They're never the favourites, though. Did I do it a few weeks back?
Yeah.
Lily predicted.
Yeah.
You did, yeah.
And that was that crazy Flinders game that was like 4-2 or something. So we didn't pick that. Yeah. So now I'm scared.
Yes.
Let's go 3-1. Westies.
All right. Okay. Mark?
Who's it against again?
Metro.
Oh.
Tread carefully here, boys.
It's also time as well, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to go in the 90, Seb, and I'm going to go 4-2 to West Adelaide.
Okay. Okay.
You got
in 90.
Ben?
Well, I know it's a cup game, so league form sometimes doesn't play a part, but Metro haven't won in their last 4 games. Westies haven't lost in the last 5 games, won 3, drawn 2 in that period. That crazy, well, not crazy, but I felt that the draws probably were a surprise. Thought they would have won those games. I can't see West Adelaide not winning this game convincingly. I'm going to go 3-0.
This is a nice thing for your ego, isn't it, Nicole? Just sort of like,
Can you see the head getting
we should against you,
confidence.
I'm going to go 2-0 West Adelaide, I reckon.
I'm surprised you tipped us, Seb. Anytime he tips against West, I message him. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, no, I've seen messages with different wording. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Maybe a bit worse.
Harsher. And then NPC versus Inter. Oh, I'm going to go Inter 2-1 in extra time.
Ooh. I was going to do that, but I'm not now.
But I'm the most correct, clearly. So wouldn't it be a good thing for you to go with me?
I'm going to go Inter. I'm going to go 90, and I'm going to go 1-0.
I was thinking of doing that too.
I feel like I'm not sure why those NTC players didn't play last week, but there was injuries or some rotations or they had other commitments. I don't know the answer, but that's the first game they've lost in 5 games. So to me, they look like they were probably in more form than West Adelaide leading up to the weekend just gone as far as wins. So I just feel like if they have those players back, I think they'll get the edge and win 2-1.
Okay.
I'm hoping they don't come back. That's why I went for Inter.
Who didn't play?
NTC and Inter.
You know who were NTC missing? Or just
last weekend.
Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comets.
Yeah, but they were missing the goalkeeper. Starting goalkeeper wasn't playing that I know of.
Yeah, she was on the bench though, so I don't know what happened there. Yeah, don't know. Sean Dewey wasn't playing. Molly Grigg, not sure. There were some names that I would have expected to see that weren't there.
Right.
So,
yeah, they got a bit of a flogging, to be honest. I reckon they'll be back and they'll win maybe in extra time, we'll say. Oh, nah. It'll be in 90 and they'll win 3-1.
All right.
Yeah, you want it to be in 90 because if they're playing before you don't want to have to wait around for them to finish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, really, you want them to go to extra time and penalties because, you know, whoever has to play them next week.
True. Men's NPL, Playford versus Campbelltown up in the north. I'm going to go... I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
Playford, Campbelltown.
This is interesting because they had some of their boys back on the bench, Campbelltown.
Yeah,
yeah. So All Right was back. He came off the bench. Maury came back off the bench. So they're back from injury. And in saying that, I think I'm going to go with Playford 3-2.
Okay.
Don't
care that they're back. They're going to lose.
No, but I just think Playford's. I just think Playford's energy and things like that might have enough. And especially at home, they've got such a good crowd at home. Yeah. It's ridiculous. That support at home just gives them such a good upper hand. It really does. They get really right behind them. So
good food too.
And from a finals perspective, it's a 6-pointer. Giving that gap just to get that top 6 spot. Lots to play for. Playford, I love Ramsey Park. It's a great place to go and watch football. Campbelltown, I feel like to me they'll bounce back from last week. I feel like they'll do enough to get a result and maybe win 2-1.
I thought you were going to go get enough.
I'll probably get a message from Benny Moore or someone in a minute. But I love Playford and I love Benny, but I think Campbelltown really they're not where they need to be as far as the quality they've got. So they need to turn it around quickly.
Nicole,
let's go Playford 3-2.
Okay, and then finally we go to tomorrow night. The reason that we're on a Tuesday, Metro versus Comets in the Australia Cup qualifying final / Federation Cup semi-final. I'm commentating this game. Very much looking forward to it. But
well done, Seb.
I don't think it will be very close. I'm going to go for 3-0 Metro. I'm not entirely convinced it's going to be the closest game.
But do you feel that's the thing about the cup competition is that Comets are sitting 8th. They've only won won in their last 5 games in the league. So making the top 6, yes, they may potentially get there, but this is probably more the one thing they've got to play for. Whereas Metro are flying high at the moment. I know on form, really, to me, it's a no-brainer as far as the result, but it's a blank page sometimes with the Cup semi-final and a spot in the Australia Cup. You know, anything can happen. And Comets do have quality on paper. So I think it'll be closer than we expect.
3-2 in extra time to Metro.
I'll go with that.
Okay, you've convinced me that it's going to be a good game. So 3-2.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Yeah. But what if they win after your first one? You're going to be like, oh, I said that.
No, I'm not like that.
And then we can laugh at him.
Yeah. Ha ha.
Simple as that.
Ben should go first because he's got the insight. He's got all the inside info. Well, not inside.
These guys are far more knowledgeable than me.
Mark, your prediction?
Oh, okay. Yeah, look, I like the guys at Comets. I got mates at Comets, and I get along really well with Dimmy at Comets and stuff like that. But to be honest, Metro for me are just, if they're on, they're just a train. No one's stopping them. It's as simple as that. I'm going to go 4-0 Metro.
And I
apologize to Comets because I do love them. And I said I've got mates at Comets, and I hope it doesn't go that way. But if Metro,
sorry,
if Metro, and I know a few of the boys at Metro. I know the coaching staff and Tassie Breeden really well at Metro, goalkeeper coach. But for me, like I said, Metro just, when they're on form, they're just so hard to stop. So I'm going to go that way. I'm just not sure if Comets have got the experience to be able to handle Metro, to be honest.
Nicole, finally to you.
Cup set, 2-1 Comets.
Okay.
I love a good cup set.
All right.
Love it.
Yeah.
Do we want to hear for the last time tonight from our 2 boys that are away about their predictions?
Oh, yeah. What do we got?
Nicole, you're going to want to listen in because I think you're referenced directly at some point.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you guess by which member who's missing mentions you in particular.
Oh, no.
For my prediction, Seb, of course, you got the fixtures there for the chosen ones of the league, and I think there's some really interesting ones in State League 2. For the first one in the North, Inter versus Vista, both teams had chances to go clear at the top of the table a couple of times, but both of them have faltered. And I think they're going to both falter in this game where they really need to get points as well, where I reckon it's going to be a 3-3 draw in this one. A classic. And I hope Seb's out to that game because it's a very good one to look forward to. In the South, though, Eastern versus Uni, where it produced one of the first upsets of the State League 2, where Uni beat them 4-1 convincingly at the Uni grounds. I think Eastern actually going to come back and win 3-2 at Eastern's Athelston Reserve after having some amazing results over the last couple of weeks since that loss against Seaford, which was surprising. And I think Uni have actually had a couple of results haven't gone their way, a couple of draws in the past, in the recent games, which have shown their frailties. So I think it's going to be a 3-2 Eastern.
Okay, my predictions for State League 2 are as follows. Salisbury Inter 2, Modbury Vista 0. And then I'll go for Eastern United to beat Adelaide Uni 2-1. That's State League 2 done, fellas.
In the WSL Women's, Grove versus Jets, another 2 teams in similar positions, but I'm going to go 4-2 to Grove.
Salamat siang. Salamat. My new friends. Apa kabar? Apa Bakari. Yeah. Okay, on to the Women's State League. It's going to finish 3-3, I think, between Elizabeth Grove and whoever they're playing. There you go, 3-3.
In State League 1, another one, 2 teams that are trying to get closer to Sturt Lions if they can, and both of them on the exact same points, I'm pretty sure, as well. And in the previous, it was a 3-0 win to Blue Eagles, but this time, with Blue Eagles' recent form not getting the wins they deserve, I'm going to go 4-1 to West Adelaide.
Men's State League 1. I'm going to go for a bit of an upset in this. I'm actually going to go for West Adelaide to beat Blue Eagles. And I'll go for a 1-goal deficit. I'll go for 3-2 or 2-1. I can't remember actually which I picked. But yeah, I'm going to go for an upset. It's going to be West Adelaide. Okay.
In the women's, West Adelaide versus Metro. Interesting draw for West Adelaide last week, which was surprising. You don't really see too many draws in the WNPL. And for Metro, they have had a couple of poor results over the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to go a 4-2 after extra time win to West Adelaide in the WNPL SL Cup. And the other game for that as well was NTC versus Salisbury into women's. And I'm going to go another extra time thriller, this time 3-1 to NTC.
WNPL/WSL Cup Semi-Finals. First one, which is football NTC and Inter. Going to go for an Inter win, 4-2 in that one. And then the second one, which is West Adelaide Metro United, I'm going to go for a 5-1 win for West Adelaide. Metro United's goal will be an own goal by Nicole Blackett in the 88th minute. An embarrassing back pass that goes terribly wrong. 5-1.
Elsewhere around the leagues, the NPL men's, Playford versus Campbelltown. Another one where Playford got I think it was a 4-0 win in the end at Campbelltown. And I think they're going to carry on their fine form and surprise Campbelltown, who had another loss last week, which was an interesting stat line compared to their recent form. I'm going to go 3-1 Playford.
Man, I'm Ringo, brother.
I found Ringo on the beach here. Ringo
Star.
Ringo.
The Beatle.
Hey Ringo, we're doing some predictions for the men's football in South Australia.
Yeah,
Playford are playing Campbelltown.
Oh, Campbelltown.
Yeah, I've gone for a 1-1 draw between Playford and Campbelltown. Would you agree that's an accurate result, or do you think something else?
Like play IFL?
No, soccer, football.
Oh, soccer, football.
Yeah. Playford, Ben Moore, of course, great coach there, and of course Daniel Mullen at Campbelltown. I mean, how can you separate those two? I'm going for a 1-1 draw. What do you say, what do you say?
I forget the name, the place. Ringo, the soccer, football?
Ringo, the soccer, football.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is.
But Ringo always start the singing, you know?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Campbelltown, you going for Campbelltown or you going for Playford?
Campbelltown.
Campbelltown from Morocco. Okay.
See you.
Okay, adios.
It's the cup that I'm actually on the boundary for. Metro versus Comets. We've seen all the promotion about it the previous times they've played. Both these teams have been on the national stage, but it's been a year or two for some. And for Comets, I think it's about 6 years maybe since they've been on the national stage, 2018. Maybe that's, 6 years, I think. So I think it's going to be a straight out Metro win, 4-1. They beat him convincingly. I think it was 5-1 in the league a couple of weeks ago. And I think they're going to be too strong. Metro Stars, too consistent for me. Comets, I don't think they have a chance even. 4-1, normal time.
Final prediction for the day. And it's the men's cup, isn't it? It's Metro Stars versus Adelaide Comets. It's pretty hard to look past Metro Stars in their current form. So I'm going to go for a Metro Stars win quite comfortably in this. 3-0. And that's it for me. I'm heading back to the tail for another bintang. See you later, kids. Bye.
Big shout out to Ringo Starr. I know age changes people, but he is looking a bit different nowadays. But big shout. Always been my favourite Beatle. But yes, no, good to hear from the both of them as always. Yeah, you're happy enough with the predictions there, Nicole?
I'm just thinking, am I playing left back maybe on the weekend with a pass back? It's a pretty bad pass back from the left wing. Lobbed it over their head.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe it's a long pass back, just caught on the halfway line. You just sort of gone, I'll knock it back there somewhere, and it's just drifted over the keeper's head as she's come out to meet it at the edge of the 18, and she's just watched it sail over her head. So,
Has that happened to you before, Mark?
What, me scoring the own goal or me watching it go over my own head?
You watching it go over?
Both.
I was going to say, actually, I don't think I've ever scored an own goal.
Oh, come on.
No, actually, I think I may have scored one.
He can remember the 2 send-offs he's had, but he can't remember the own goals.
Yeah, but I don't think I've actually ever scored. I think maybe one own goal that I can think of, maybe. But no, I never got lobbed, that's for sure.
I reckon I got an own goal.
Not from my own players, anyway.
I reckon I got an own goal in like under 9s, and I reckon I cried coming off the pitch because I was playing up front, and I didn't want to come back for the corner, and then I scored the own goal, and then I was really upset.
Seb, I got a homework task for you.
Okay.
Go back and try and find the last time West Adelaide drew 0-0, because I cannot remember, and it sucks. It actually felt like a loss.
I guess, yeah.
In the rain too.
8:15,
raining, 0-0. Oh,
Well, yeah, I think we spoke before the game and it wasn't looking good. I think you said there was even a bit of thunder you heard as well.
Well, I thought so. I thought it should have been called off, but it's only one bit of flash. And look, ref, it's lightning. Nah, it actually wasn't too bad. The game before was worse, conditions wise, but you know.
You also couldn't really watch it on the broadcast either, so
No.
that was the other thing.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, but no. Actually, that leads on to a good question. Have you actually ever scored an own goal or been sent off?
I haven't been. No, I don't think so.
And never an own goal?
Nah, I don't reckon.
I'm not sure you can be part of this if you haven't been sent off. Jeez.
I nearly did the other week, but I won't go into that.
Oh, there's my topic for next week.
Perfect. Well done. Well, yes. David will be back next week, and we will still be on Tuesday next week as well. With Nicole, Ben handing over the baton from Ben to Nicole.
Thank you.
Ben, thank you for joining us. Very much appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been great fun.
Mark, anything you want to finish off on?
No, I'll just take off from what Alessio would normally say is make sure you get out to games. If you can't get out to games, tune in on the FSA Leagues. Big game tomorrow night, which is being broadcast. So if you cannot get to the game, there are tickets for sale. So please buy tickets. If you can't, as Seb alluded to earlier, he will be calling that game alongside Simon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, with Alessio on boundary.
And Alessio on the boundary. So tune in to that one, or like I said, if you're down that way or up that way, get to it. Up that way. Go out and watch. And like I said, just get out to as many games as you can over the weekend.
There's positives and negatives either way. If you don't like my voice and hate my commentary, go to the game. If you do, watch it at home. Either or, you're watching the game and I don't mind. I'll just finish off by saying thank you to everyone for their support and everyone watching. We're nearly at 1,000 followers on Instagram, which is insane because I think, Mark, we only had about 20.
Yeah, we were under 100 at the start of this year.
Predictions and team of the week do well. I must say.
Yeah, team of the week. But no, it's also the fact that we have such good guests like you guys that come on and do your bits and the likes of the guests that we've had, the Taylors, the Dan Mullins and things like that. People tune in for those stories and catch ups and so it's massive to have you guys on. So thank you very much. It does help our show and like I said, we've probably 100%, 10,000% better than where we were this time last year and even at the start of the year. So
yeah, no, absolutely, very much appreciated. We don't make any money from this. We lose money making this. So all support, anything, share, a follow, or a like is just as appreciated. So we keep doing this.
Any promotion for the local league has got to be a positive thing. It takes so much time. You guys do a fantastic job, so it's not just what you see here. It's all the build up to it, all the prep, all the sort of, the different things that you've got to do. So it's massive hats off to you guys. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, we try our best. Johnny as well. Go watch his show. You have Nicole's own podcast as well, which is very, very good.
Lucky girl. Let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. Good episode a couple of weeks ago. Make sure to listen to it. Very interesting. A lot of insightful things. Talk about a lot of subjects.
Why did you allude to the one a couple of weeks ago, Sam?
It was a good episode. I think the thing is right. It was with you and Ali. You guys aren't afraid to say anything at all. That's what I like. We
haven't got in trouble yet, so
yeah, exactly.
Anyone's free to have their own podcast and talk.
Exactly.
Exactly. There's some things I would love to, but I can't, so it's fine.
No problem at all. But yeah, thank you, Ben, for joining us and Nicole for this last part. But we will see you next week on Tuesday. David will be back. Alessio won't be. But if you want to hear him on a Wednesday, listen to him on the boundary tomorrow night at the Cup game. That's all from us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next Tuesday. Get out to all the Cup games, all the league games, as Mark said. And yeah, have a good week and weekend. Au revoir.
See you guys.
Brilliant. See ya.
Alex Mullen.
Bye.
To make it 3-1 in the grand final. Puts in the penalty and wins the grand final for Campbelltown City.
No one attacks it, comes back up to Fernandez. It's the goal! It's time! Oh! And then Talisman's got another one. Harry City back quick. Jake King, what a shot! My goodness me! Oh, can't teach that sort of stuff. Sends it in, keeps it low, and it's gone in! It's gone in! LA Uni have scored in time added. Tries to get under control, and the shot from Tolland! Salisbury into it, 2-0 up!
Still Butler with another chance, it's 2-1 to play for it! Persistence has paid off for Playford!
One foot to the keeper, puts it into the bottom corner. Beach gives him a shoulder after that as well. He's lost his clean sheet, and he's lost his head with a red card! David, this is massive!
Skills to make the girls sing and the geezers too, yeah, we're doing this thing.